Welcome to Inland Empire Alive, bringing you issues, events, and perspectives from throughout San Bernardino and Riverside counties. I'm David Brady, and on today's show you'll meet Tammy Rapp, owner of Little Shop of Hairdos, a horror-themed hair salon, retail shop, and eerie event venue in historic downtown Upland. That's today on Inland Empire Alive. Well, I'm so delighted to welcome my next guest. It's someone I wanted to have on the program for quite a long time, all the way from my hometown in Upland. Tammy Rapp, the owner of Little Shop of Hairdos, a horror-themed hair salon, retail shop, and event venue in historic downtown Upland.
Thank you for having me.
What does that mean? What is a horror-themed hair salon?
Well, we're a full-service hair salon, but if you walk inside, we obviously are very horror-themed because that's the only thing I knew, and I'm a lifelong horror fan, so
you had a background as a hairstylist. Talk to me about how you got started.
Yes, I did. I've actually been licensed for hair for about 25 years now. And when it came down to me owning my own, I had to do something that was more original than the rest of the 50,000 other hair salons in the state of California. So I grew up in horror, so I decided just to go with that. That's the only thing I knew. For
small businesses, we know that most small businesses really struggle. Did you worry that picking something so niche, so specific, that would be taking kind of an extra layer of risk? Was that a concern of yours?
Yes, definitely, because we're not LA. I mean, we're still in Southern California, but we're not LA. So, and Upland is very traditional and very old school in the way they think, especially in a historic downtown area. But I figured, sometimes you have to go.
Well, that's a great point. So, yeah. Upland is not Los Angeles.
No.
Did you worry that the Inland Empire might not be receptive to something like this?
Yes, but I was okay with that.
But now, how many years later has it been since you've opened?
Just about 10 years now.
And what was the response?
Initially, it was odd. And then I ran for office, and that made it even more odd. But now, if you drive down the street where historic downtown Upland is, you'll notice the theme is caught on.
And this is an area that's more than 100 years old. This is the historic Main Street, vintage downtown Upland, where the merchants, have existed, since the Chaffee brothers came.
Yes.
What do you think, attributed your success? Was it that small town, sort of that little drag where people can walk up and down? There's the gazebo. There's, events throughout the year. Is that play a part in your success?
Yes, and there was nothing like this type of salon at all in the area, not just about the theme, but more of what we do. We're a more creative type hair salon, and it looks like that's where the public was looking for a place that they felt more comfortable. And so that came along with the creation.
I've seen in the last couple of years there really has been an explosion of horror-themed boutiques and businesses and artisans here in the Inland Empire. What do you attribute that to? There's been this kind of explosion in campiness and kitschiness.
Yes, I'd just say it's generational. Even my granddaughter, she's starting to be a little horror fan. She's caught on. Of course, my daughters and. But I'm noticing even little kids nowadays, you're seeing them show up at these conventions and everything with horror t-shirts on and everything. Because in some genre of horror, there's something that's for kids. Even Beetlejuice, for example, kids love it.
Well, that's an obvious question. Is the salon family friendly? I mean, certainly the decor might put some kids off, but do you have kids come in?
Oh yeah, I mean, we don't have anything that's gore. Which is easy to get around. We have props and everything like that. It might be a little scary at first, but nothing moves, nothing jumps out at you or anything like that.
It's not about scaring, like you said. It's about celebrating, all those icons. And again, like you said, Elvira, that was the tongue-in-cheek, that sort of, and there's been a long history of that. I think some people may not realize that when you say horror-themed salon, well, horror has had a fun, campy element for decades. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and Count Chocula. There's always been kind of a fun side to horror. What genuinely scares you, though?
What scares me?
Split ends?
Yeah. Obviously, just from being traumatized from the whole pandemic situation, I would say making sure we stay in business and I keep all my employees employed. So we have a full staff, and we have for quite some time now, and I love them to death. They're like second family to me. So, of course, as an owner, we do everything to protect that. So,
with such a niche business and such niche services, what do you look for in a stylist? I mean, are there particular skills or particular experience that you're looking for that would make them stand out in this kind of environment versus a Supercuts or a typical salon?
A lot of experience in color, because people come to us to look for something original that they can't find elsewhere. And we also do the basics, like if you want to become a blonde, we can absolutely do that as well. We're full service. But since we are going to be asked to do more unique situations, we got to make sure we're prepared for that.
Give me an idea of some of the type of services. So for someone who's never been to a salon like yours,
Right.
and it might be looking to do something a little on the wild side, a little something maybe for a special occasion, what are some of the things you offer?
Anything creative your mind can think of. Back, I'd say when I was a kid growing up, having colored hair was more of like a rebellion, like a punk type thing to do. Nowadays, it's kindergarten teachers coming in, it's nurses coming in, or it's kids that want to come and get their first hair color for their birthday coming in, and they just want maybe just a panel or something cute, and they love it. They absolutely love it. Their self-esteem just goes through the roof or something like that. So we can do that as well, and like I said, we can also do blondes, and we can do simple haircuts, we can do barbering, all of that under one roof. So if you've got something creative you saw something, of course on the internet or on Pinterest that you saw, bring it in. We'll get you as close as possible as we can to that.
Now, for people like me who don't have a lot left to work with,
Right.
Are there options that you can do because I'd love to do something kind of crazy. It doesn't have to be permanent, but
Right.
can you work with this little amount of?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted something temporary, say for Halloween or something,
Sure.
we can do something like that, But and then of course, if you actually dyed it, it would only be for as long as it grew out, and then
Sure,
we'd cut it off.
sure.
So, but of course, we just do simple barbering as well. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, we'll be back with more from Tammy Rapp and Little Hot Shop of Hairdos right after these messages. If you'd like to be a guest on Inland Empire Alive, email us at guest@iealive.com.
Join us for our weekly farmers market in San Bernardino. The farmers market is ongoing every Tuesday at Court Street Square, located at 349 Northeast Street from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event features both farmers and hot food vendors. Come purchase fresh produce at the farmers market and enjoy a nutritious lunch for the day. This is a certified farmers market with fresh and quality produce grown by real farmers from the region. For more information, visit our website at sbcity.org/parks. You can also call us at 909-384-5233 or email us at recreation@sbcity.org. See you there.
Now, I'm talking to Tammy Rapp, owner of Little Shop of Hairdos in historic downtown Upland. Talk to me about your experience as a parent. What do your kids think of all of this? Were they, a fan of this growing up, or did they think it was just sort of mom's weird hobby?
No, well, they grew up in it because I always had Halloween parties, and we, every Halloween we'd of course do so much, and we made costumes and everything. So it was kind of a thing we did all the time anyways. And they grew up with watching even the comedy of it, like Young Frankenstein, because the horror umbrella is so big and what falls under it, like you said, like campy, So I started them young with all that stuff, and as they got older and became teenagers, we'd go to the theater and see all the new releases of horror and everything. So it's of no surprise to them at all. But now I'm the cool mom that has a very popular hair salon.
Do you find that your tastes are the same? Do they like different styles? I mean, horror comes in so many flavors, so many styles.
Oh, yeah. I have two daughters. My oldest, she actually has tattoos and everything of more of like the 90s, early millennial tattoos and stuff that she has, like Ghostface from Scream and everything. And my youngest daughter, the one that just graduated from college, she is more of like the Marilyn Monroe of the family. Blonde, beautiful, tall, would never believe it, but she loves horror too, and you just wouldn't believe it by looking at her, So yeah, it's definitely in the family. And then my granddaughter's the same. So.
Do you ever have trouble explaining your love of this? Do people, I mean, again, it seems like society has come around. Jack Skellington's everywhere.
Right,
I mean,
right.
It's not so odd nowadays.
No, it's definitely not. As you even mentioned, like there's horror conventions every weekend. It's not even during Halloween season anymore.
Right.
It was that way decades ago. Like there was one horror convention and that was it, But now it's every weekend throughout the year. And then horror movies now are getting, recognized by the Oscars even now. So like Guillermo del Toro and so
Jordan Peele is,
yes.
celebrated.
Yes, exactly.
Has that been nice that in the time that you've been doing this, horror has gotten more and more sort of embraced and sort of, it's everywhere. It's not seen as something that weird goth people are into and what's wrong with you? And,
no, but we are weird goth people too, so yeah. No, I would say, you know what, I think nowadays people are looking for escapism. At least 2 hours of not thinking what's going on in the world. So horror is that, where you're scared but safe. So you just think of something totally different for that. Even if you're just streaming it on Netflix or, or watching it in the theater. It's escapism like everything else, an experience and immersive based type businesses.
Well, you brought up piercings and tattoos and things like that. It does seem like there is more of an acceptance of, showing your creativity on your body, your hair color, your clothes, the tats. I mean, it must be nice that you work in an area where you can really let people kind of bring that out and show off their style in a way that, people hadn't been doing when my mom and when I was growing up. Tattoos, you'll never get a job, or things like that.
Yeah, that's completely changed now. I even see like police departments trying to recruit people that it's okay if you have tattoos, and like that. So it's more accepted. And like I mentioned, with it used to be a sign of rebellion to color
but now
your hair.
having a streak in your hair, your preschool teacher, would have that.
It's expressing yourself or having fun because it's temporary, So.
Tell me a little bit about some of the other businesses you're involved in. So in addition to cutting hair, you're also a retail shop. You also rent the space for events. And I know you appear at shops.
Yes, I also do vending at other horror conventions as well.
So where could people find you outside the salon?
The next thing I'll be doing is actually a Little Shop of Horrors themed convention because I thought that was completely fitting for us. So of course I joined in on that. And of course there's a new horror convention in the city of Ontario, which is 10 minutes from me. And it's gotten really popular and it's expanded so much. We could be seen there. We've also done Midsummer Scream, which is out in Burbank and everything. So we make our rounds and then we're going to start spreading out to other states as well.
Do you have a vision for where you'd like to take the business? I mean, certainly you want to grow it, you want to franchise it. I mean, where do you want to be?
I've been asked that.
Okay.
No, I'm not ready. I like the whole family-owned thing. I like when I'm gone from this planet that my daughters will take over. So they already, if I'm not there, if I'm on vacation, they do help and join in. And so it's a very family-run place. Absolutely.
And is it primarily appointments only for?
For hair, yes, appointments only, but if you'd like to walk in and just look at us, take pictures, take video, we've been dealing with that for years, so people do all the time, and that's more than welcome.
Well, I want to make sure we let people know how to find out where to find you, where to book appointments, where to find out the stylists that are available. It is littleshopofhairdos.rip.
Correct.
Appropriately enough.
Yes.
And you are also very active on Instagram
Yes.
at Little Shop of Hairdos. Anything else you want to let people know about? You're right down on, is it 2nd Avenue?
Right on 2nd Avenue.
Right by the Metrolink station.
Yes, yes.
So it's easy to make a day. There's plenty of places to eat. There's coffee houses. You can make an entire afternoon
Yes,
down
it's
there.
quite an experience. So if you do take the Metro, we are 2 blocks from the Metro. There's plenty of free parking there as well. You can definitely, like you said, eat lunch. You can go shopping, and have a drink afterwards. But it's a great little town to hang out in for a while.
Well, Tammy, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the success in the future, and I might be stopping by for a, if not a cut,
Absolutely.
maybe a color.
All right, absolutely.
Visit iealive.com.